Morning, everyone. Ewan Doyle. I am Scottish Borders Council, but I'm seconded to Edinburgh City Region Deal through Workforce Mobility Project. So it's currently sits within the employability side of City Deal, not the transport side, and it's a way of acknowledging the transport-related barriers to employment, training and education across the region. It's the first City Deal with workforce mobility included in it. So what I'm going to do today is just run you through some database projects that we're doing, because data sharing and the use of data is a key barrier in our region, and hopefully that reflects some of the topics that you're discussing today. So let me share and I'll run you through the slides. I'm going to dip in and out of the data as well to show you what sort of data we're collecting and how we're using it. So hopefully you can all see that. So background to the project, as I say, we're very aware that transport is a barrier to employment, training and education across the region. If you look at and linking into poverty, the SESTRAN's Regional Transport Strategy Baseline Report highlights the fact that rural areas of the southeast of Scotland transport uses up to 19% of households' income, compared to 8% in the city of Edinburgh, and they were pre-COVID percentages. So that's a real big burden on households, and the contribution to poverty and child poverty there as well. So what the Workforce Mobility Project there is, as I said, looking at those barriers to transport and looking at our key objectives. One of them is about enabling young people to stay in rural communities, small towns, and still get access to the same opportunities as those people in as urban equivalents, effectively. So what I did when I first came into the role a couple of years ago is I went round a lot of our partners, so DWP, SDS, Developing Young Workforce, Young Scot and local authorities, and said, right, what are the barriers and where do they exist? So everybody was aware of the barriers, but nobody was ever recording it. It was just one of those anecdotal sort of challenges that everybody just finds ways around. So what we did was we undertook a structured survey across the 6 local authorities that are part of City Deal. So that's all of the Lothians, Scottish Borders Council, Fife and City of Edinburgh. And over the course of the year, we analysed a lot of the data that came back through surveys of the agencies and their clients. And it highlighted that there are a lot of common themes through the region. It's not just about cost of fares, it's about complexity of ticketing, and the complexity of the scheduling of services. And one of the big areas that we've really honed in on at the moment is around increased partnership working and the collaboration of data. There's a lot of data out there. It's either not used or not shared, and which really stifles the development and coordination of transport in our region. So we're really focusing in on that at the moment with our 6 local authority partners. So the data we're looking at well, employability data. So where are the employees in the regions moving, and what employees aren't already engaged with the public transport network, and how can we improve that? If we can get more of people on the public transport network, we can reduce the subsidy on the existing network and use that subsidy to provide services to more remote areas. Looking at mobile phone data, so that's national mobile phone data in terms of where people are moving across the country. Bus patronage data in itself, who is actually on the bus and where they're going, and actually how accessible are our employers. So I'll just kind of run through each of those and give you a little bit of insight. So the first thing we did is we, region by region, we're going in and speaking with businesses, and what we're saying is, if you can give us your employability, your employees' postcode data and shift patterns, we can actually use them and map that demand in to make more informed decisions about how we change our transport network. In reply, what we'll give you is we'll give you an assessment of how many of your staff can actually already travel sustainably. So it's really a start of a green travel plan, and we'll give you some an incentives fact sheet and how you can invest further in that as well. And then the local authorities get access to that collated data so they can see where the demand flows are across their network and start making more informed decisions about, well, actually, is the network fit for purpose? Do we need to invest in more bus services, active travel, mobility hubs, etc. as well? It also has insight into economic development and planning as well in terms of where's the density of demand, where should we increase development, and whether it's industrial or housing, to increase that demand to then support business cases for improved bus services or active travel, etc. So I'll just nip out of this for a moment and I will just share the postcode tool with you. So hopefully you can all see this. This is East Lothian. This is data we've collected from employers of employees' postcodes. So each green dot is an employee within their postcode area. And what we can do with the data is we can start to see how many people are accommodated by the existing travel network and where there is demand out with that we can start to look at other interventions. So looking at just putting on some other layers within the map so you can start to interrogate the information. So the red lines now are the bus routes within East Lothian. So you can see there's quite good coverages, but there are areas with little coverage there. So how can we better serve these locations? The same with the active travel routes, etc. So you can start to look at where there's clusters of demand to then identify, is that enough for new bus services, whether that's a fixed route service or demand responsive transport or taxi bus, or where there's small demand close to existing active travel routes or mobility hubs. And then you can look at active travel there as well. So that's sort of a wee insight to the data. I'll just go back to the presentation. How we've used that. So what we've done in the Scottish Borders, apologies. So what we did with this data in the Scottish Borders is the map on the left-hand side is all of the school children who live in the Berwickshire area of the Scottish Borders. So Berwickshire has about 20,000 people living in it. It's about 4 times the size of Mid Lothian, so it's quite a large rural area. It's only got 2 bus services really, running east to west, and then one up the east coast heading into Edinburgh. So there's large swathes of it which don't have any access to bus. So what we did is we created a business case looking at where are our under 22s living in relation to bus services. With the opening of the new Reston station on the East Coast Main Line, how could we better serve our communities and the new opening of the station? So we created a business case around a demand responsive transport pilot. So effectively, it's an Uber bus. You phone it up, it'll pick you up at your door and take you to the destination, or it'll take you to the nearest kind of fixed route destination. So that's something that's now been running for nearly a year and a half. It's still in its pilot phase, but it got a second year of funding commitment from Scottish Borders Council because the first year was successful. And you're looking at, there's about 1,400 trips per month on that, and about 39% of it is under 22s, utilising the new under 22 free travel scheme. And this is a fantastic opportunity for our young people in Berwickshire because it gives them the same opportunities as our urban counterparts have. The under 22 free travel is a great Scottish Government initiative, but potentially rural areas and island areas lose out again, because unless you've got the services there to facilitate it, you can't actually use it in the first place. So just a use of data in the Scottish Borders. Also for the Scottish Borders, we've taken all of the data from employers, mobile phone, existing bus network, and we've undertaken and helped support a bus network review. So basically the bus network in the Borders hasn't really been touched in the last 30 to 40 years. It's just, as budgets have reduced, it's just basically slice away services to accommodate the budget cuts. So we're looking to use the data not only to identify where there's duplication and inefficiencies, but where things aren't running at the wrong time or where we can increase patronage. So a quick review of that is here is an origin destination map of the employee data that we received. So up the left-hand side is the origins, up the top is the destination. So what I've just done is highlighted, running diagonally across the screen, the sort of maroon ovals are the town services. So you can see the percentage of data or the percentage of use in each town service is quite high, actually. There's quite a bit of demand in internal services within the towns themselves. So that highlights, actually, is there more opportunity to grow them? Are they actually running at the right time? And then the ovals down the middle is in orange. This is links to our Borders General Hospital. There's quite a lot of demand in terms of employability to the Borders General Hospital. 23% of the overall data set is going to the Borders General Hospital. And are we actually serving it properly to meet those demands of those employees? Never mind the patients that go there. So once you align that demand with actual services, so this looks quite complicated, it's really not. So the left-hand graph is really just about when people are starting and finishing during the day. So people are starting to go to work from 5 o'clock in the morning. Most people get there by about 9 o'clock. And then returning home, the horizontal axis shows that most people start to return home from 4 o'clock up until 10 o'clock at night. So when you compare that to the services, the chart on the right, where you've got all your services on the vertical axis and the times of the day on the horizontal, the majority of services don't start until 7 o'clock in the morning. So that's potentially 2 hours after people are starting to start work in the border. So there's about 20% of people already started work by 7 o'clock in the morning. And the same at night, the majority of bus services finish at 6, 7 o'clock at night. And again, there's still about 20% of people still to return from work at that point. So there's a huge opportunity there just by changing the bus times to get more patronage onto the bus network. Looking at a bit more national data, we also looked at mobile phone data. So what mobile phone data does, it gives you, if you can identify trip attractors in your region, it'll tell you how many people are coming to that trip attractor from every postcode in the United Kingdom, which is really good, and it can be really quite cluttered. So what we've done is for each region is we've just curtailed it to within boundaries. So this is a Scottish Borders one, so looking at all the postcodes in the Scottish Borders. And this is giving a feel for how many people are travelling to the Borders General Hospital. So in the middle of that map is the Borders General Hospital. Each line dictates a demand. So green's quite light demand, up to orange, and red is high demand. And when we look at those demands across the year, so we've got strong demand from some of our biggest settlements, Galashiels, Peebles, Selkirk and Hawick. And when you compare that to the bus services, it highlights the fact that actually there's no direct service on the bus to the BGH from Hawick and Selkirk or Peebles, and there's no quick bus from Galashiels either. So there's another opportunity there to grow patronage, just looking at different layers of data. So looking at bus patronage itself, a lot of good data that our operators have, and our local authorities do get data as well, but they don't potentially use it as well as it could be used to inform decision making. So we are working with local authorities to understand the data better and use it in a way that it helps communicate with senior officers, elected members and community members. I'm going to nip out again and show you how we're using that. And again, it's just a simple Power BI analysis. So what happens is each local authority gets a lot of just Excel spreadsheet data from ticketing machines about what the date was, what kind of ticket, where they started, where they were going, but it's a big, very unwieldy sheet of Excel, which is difficult for the local authorities to use. So what we're starting to do is to put it into standardise the data that's collected with the operators, then automate it to go into pivot tables. So again, here's a pivot table where the origin down the vertical and the destination across the horizontal. So you can start to see the flows from between each of the stops, which is really helpful for the local authorities. But when you start to then interrogate that with Power BI and give the ability for the local authorities to really drill into the data, what it can do is can give you a little bit more information. So looking at the bar chart at the top of the screen, it tells you how many people are going between each of the bus stops. I'm just going to pick the top one between Galashiels and Tweed Bank. So there's about 10,000 people travelling between that bus stop in the year. But if you look at the bar chart below, it then starts to, well, what is the spread of the ticket sales over the course of the day? So looking at your morning peaks, afternoon peaks, so they can start to see how efficient the each service is working across the day, and can efficiencies be made to it as well. And then the little pie chart at the side gives the local authority a breakdown of what type of tickets are being sold between that those two stops. Looking at this, there's a lot of concessionary tickets being sold on that one, so they can start to profile the types of people that are moving, whether it's school kids using under 22s or the over 60s as well. So it's just another way of using existing data a little bit better to inform decisions at a local authority level. I'll not jump back in, I'll just keep sharing this one here. So another area of data that we've been looking to use and help not only local authorities and employment agencies is how easy it is to access employers to gain sort of training and employment opportunities. So we were taking it from the point of someone working with a caseload of, say, 30 people one day, and they've got 30 opportunities. And rather than going on to Travel Line and saying, well, actually, can this person to get to each one of these 30 opportunities sustainably on public transport, and doing that 30 times for 30 opportunities, so effectively 900 times, what we try to do is create a tool that can quickly sift out opportunities for the caseworkers. And what I mean by that, and as I'll just show you another one, is we've got a tool where you can identify a business in your location, and it'll tell you if you at an arrival time what areas the transport network covers, so you can quickly see if a person lives within that area and can get access to transport. So you can quickly sift out or sift in opportunities and narrow down the opportunities for your caseload. So I'm just going to pick, we're in Fife here, so I'm just going to pick Amazon, and I'm going to say, well, actually, I need someone to get there between 7:45 and 8 in the morning. So just click that link, and actually what it does is it tells you all of the areas in the hatch blue, they've got a sustainable access into Amazon for 7:45 to 8 in the morning. So anybody on your caseload that lives within those zones can actually attend that opportunity. And it's just a really quick way of looking and identifying opportunities. The flip side to this is actually it's also got some planning and economic development opportunities here, in terms of, one, where are we developing our business opportunities, and where are we developing our new housing within the local development plan as well. So there's some knock-on benefits there, which we didn't really intend initially, but really what we're doing this is we've got a test group in Fife that are looking and using this as part of their daily routine, and it is actually saving them between 15 and 20 minutes each day in terms of getting through the caseload. And if you multiply that by the number of people who help support people in employability, that really does create quite a big efficiency going forward. So we're trying to streamline this and get it into a sort of web-based, front-facing, public-facing tool that anybody can use at the minute. So just another way we're using data. And finally, just our kind of next steps. So that postcode analysis tool and that business analysis tool I've just showed you, we are working with some software developers to create that public-facing versions of that. But we're conscious we don't just want it for the city region. These have got applications across the whole of Scotland. So we're trying to work with national agencies to see if we can host those nationally rather than regionally, to create more availability, but also economies of scale when you're sort of managing and maintaining these tools. We're working with East Lothian Council, looking at using the data for Journey Hub and active travel strategy development, working with that Power BI tool to look at the data they already collect, and also providing as much data to their strategy teams to inform local access and transport strategies and local development plans. The same with Midlothian Council, really data gathering and looking at the data to inform the local access, transport and development plan. West Lothian Council, same, using the Power BI analysis to help them better use the data they already collect. And City of Edinburgh at the minute, we're helping them with their green travel plan for their own workforce, and also looking at the top 50 businesses and doing that accessibility analysis to see how well they're served and how we could maybe encourage that behavioural change for their staff. So that's me. Hopefully that was aligned with the sort of data and the child poverty themes you're talking with, Hannah. So